I'm reading a joint statement from Indigenous Youth in North America on World AIDS Day, December 1st, 2012, from the National Aboriginal Youth Council on HIV and AIDS in Canada, NACHA, and the National Native American Youth Council on HIV and AIDS in the United States, NNYC-HIV.
The global theme of this World AIDS Day is getting to zero.
Getting to zero.
Zero new HIV infections, zero discrimination, zero AIDS-related deaths.
Zero new HIV infections.
Zero new HIV infections.
Zero discrimination.
Zero discrimination.
Zero AIDS-related deaths.
And zero AIDS-related deaths.
NACHA and NNYC HIV represent Indigenous youth throughout North America who advocate building relationships and empowering Indigenous communities to eliminate HIV and AIDS and associated stigma and discrimination.
We as Indigenous youth are a central part to many of our communities
and are vital to the survival of our Indigenous nations.
Our nations will be stronger if we centralize our conversations around support for youth to make decisions about their own bodies and share knowledge about HIV and AIDS.
On this World AIDS Day theme of getting to zero, let's also commit to getting to
zero violence.
Zero violence.
Zero violence.
Zero violence.
Zero poverty.
Zero poverty.
Zero poverty.
Zero suicide.
Zero shame for who we are.
And zero shame for who we are, what we aspire to be, and where we come from.
New HIV infections increased by 8.9% among American Indian Alaska Native people in the United States between 2007 and 2010.
These rates disproportionately affect American Indian and Alaska Native communities, who constitute a small proportion of U.S.-wide demographics.
In Canada, 19.3% of reported AIDS cases among Aboriginal people are between 15 and 29 years old.
This is compared with 14.8% of reported AIDS cases among non-Aboriginal people in the same group between 1979 and 2008.
In response to the realities of the increasing rates of HIV and AIDS, we have come together in this statement to address the different attitudes and beliefs amongst Indigenous youth regarding HIV and AIDS and welcome further dialogue and action.
NACHA and NNYC HIV promote culturally safe access to testing, care, treatment, and support for those living with and/or affected by HIV and AIDS.
We also wish to express our hope and courage
for Indigenous youth becoming leaders to exercise their human rights, to
be educated and talk about HIV and AIDS with resources that speak to our different identities and experiences as Indigenous youth.
Eliminate stigma and discrimination of HIV and AIDS.
And support harm reduction approaches to wellness for Indigenous people living with and/or affected by HIV, AIDS, and their families.
Boom.